All right, that's everybody's in.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I ain't even gonna delay. I'm so excited to be here right now. So before I even start, if you know me personally, I'm gonna tell you I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the opportunity to talk before y'all. Um, Veteran Hour is basically an opportunity for veterans to talk to veterans about transition, pivoting, benefits, the whole nine yards, right? That's why I just created this. There's nothing more to it. It's nothing to say. It was just honest conversations, real conversations about you getting over the next step, pivoting the whole nine yards, right? We have a great, I'm talking about this panel of women we have created today are like, I couldn't ask for a better panel. I couldn't ask for better women who are definitely passionate about not only veterans, but inspiring and pushing other women forward. Not leaving this because I got to the other side, I'm gonna pull you back forward. I can talk all day long, so I'm gonna hurry up and pass it to John because I don't want to delay in these women's stories and this inspiration they about to give y'all. So let me get this to John so he can give the some introductions and we go from there.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Turn off the waiting room. That way everybody else can just come on in. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Man, I'm excited too. Can't wait to get this panel going. John Nieves, 25-year Navy vet. I'm in my sophomore season of retirement. Not doing a really good job of it, but I am enjoying what I do. So did 25 years, was a corpsman out here, retired out of Hampton Roads, Virginia. And so as soon as my daughter turns 18, I'll be in Costa Rica or somewhere unknown as an expat. But let's get to why we are here. And we definitely want to give our ladies an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll turn it over quickly. So, Alex, if you want to introduce yourself first.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Super excited to be here and sharing a little bit of our story. But yeah, I'm a veteran. I medically retired back in 2019, served in the Army as a paratrooper in the 82nd and 3rd Group Special Forces support for 9 years. So definitely excited to share my story now that I am out. I know it's been a hard transition, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm still growing in, learning, and also trying to pay it forward. I'm currently a student success manager with NGT Academy, a cyber boot camp or tech boot camp. So I'm continuously helping other veterans in their transition journey. So excited to be here.
So glad to have you. So glad to have you. Carmen, I will jump to D. Oh, you got it. You got
Oh,
the D button. There it goes.
these nails, they get me every time. I'm sorry, you guys, I had to get off mute. I'm Carmen Harris, everyone. I'm an 8-year Air Force veteran. I served in OIF. I am currently a employer liaison, a veteran employer liaison with the Texas Veterans Commission based out of Houston, Texas. So I went from being a service member to helping service members in their transition and getting them back to meaningful employment. So that is the short story of my current life. I'm glad to see you guys, and thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to our chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carmen. D.
Everybody, thank you for joining us today. My name is Dee Mosely. I am a 28-year Air Force veteran. I retired here out of the Pentagon as a command chief previous to that, but I retired as the chief for enlisted vault education, so all things education. And I transitioned back in 2023. I spent 16 years of my career in the medical field, and then after that, kind of took the leadership route, if you will. So I'm always excited to be on podcasts and talks like this because this is where you get the real, authentic information, the truth of the matter. And so looking to engage with you all on this morning. So thank you. That's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. And before, in case time run out, let's first of all say thank you all for your service. You know what I mean? We don the cloth and then we put it away, but we also leave a large footprint behind us that others get to kind of benefit from, especially as women in military. So thank you guys so much for your service. For those of you that are on the call, if you guys have questions, please feel free to raise your hand, but preferably just drop your questions in the chat, and then as we transition, we'll make sure to get to them. So just go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we'll address as many as we can. But without further ado and further to do, we'll go ahead and we'll jump to Carmen first. So Carmen, if you had to describe your transition out of service, out of the military in one word, what would it be and why?
You on mute.
It's not a meeting unless one person talks on
I'm
mute.
not putting myself on mute anymore. So if I had to choose one word, it would have to be naive.
Mm.
And I say naive because I was so ready to separate that I didn't make myself ready to separate. I was young at the time. I joined at 18 right after high school, and I did my 8 years. And that's the one thing I will say about joining right after high school is you have no life skills. So you jump right into a career, and the military does a great job of taking care of us. But that age and transitioning out and not, even knowing how to sign a lease,
Mm.
things like that, it was very difficult. So if I had to put it in one word, I'd say naive. I wasn't ready.
I think that's a lot of veterans, a lot of people who transition out. You be so ready just to go. Like I'm ready just to get out of here because you have certain
Mm-hmm.
experiences, good or bad, or you just miss family, or you have children. I'm gonna be ready to be a mom, be a dad. I just want to go, 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 and you miss a lot of the resources or opportunities or things that's out there. Like I'm done with school. I'll deal with that later on because I just want to get out of here because the experiences or just where I'm stationed at. I want to get. If I'm in Georgia, I hate it here, or I'm in over Germany, I want to get back to America. And you
Yep.
miss a lot of golden opportunities on the dash to get back to civilian life. And then when you get to civilian life, you realize everybody else's life has kept going on. And everybody else's life is doing them. And it's like, what's going on? But it's like, I hurry up to get here. Now nobody's really necessarily all that receptive for it. So, hey, I feel that. So,
What about you,
app,
D?
there you go.
Yeah.
I would have to say my word is recalibrate. Right. You have to recalibrate your mind. You have to recalibrate, your way of thinking, the way you dress, like all the things. It's a recalibrate. Who am I really now? What am I passionate about? And am I going to move out on that passion? So that's what I would have to say for me is definitely time to recalibrate.
Yeah, I get that. Every
Mhm.
recalibration is definitely key because there's a lot of changes
Absolutely.
happen. It changes happen when you take that uniform off. It's definitely some changes that gotta happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that one actually touches on mine too. I think mine is uh liberating. I know we talked about this before on how when you go in, you're one person, right? When you're transitioning out, you're trying to find that person again just to realize that you're no longer even that person that you went in as. So trying to reset and recalibrate, like you said, Dee. Yeah, so mine was a little liberating because trying to find yourself again is a little freeing.
Liberating, that's a good one. I like that, liberating. Did you feel like you was free? Like once you,
In a sense, because, I was no longer constrained to, oh, I have to be this way or I have to dress this way or I have to be
mm,
here at this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Once
okay,
that weight sheds. Woo.
I get it.
Good feeling.
So I got a
Hmm.
question for you. I'm gonna go back to Carmen. I got a question for you. What's one thing people assume about women veterans that simply isn't true? Or that's like this is absolutely wrong?
That female or women veterans don't exist. And I say that because I feel like the majority of people don't realize that we are in a new time and females are allowed to join the military. And when I'm called a spouse or a dependent, when I go to get services or when I go to the VA hospital, it's very annoying. And to be honest, it took me a while to really sit on that question and think of a answer that would be engaging. But simply put, female veterans are not always the spouse and we're not always the dependent. We served as well.
I mean, I'm not even gonna deny that that's a real thing. I've met a lot of veterans in this workforce development space that feel like the first time they meet somebody is, oh, tell me, where was your husband stationed at? Ho ho, it's where I was stationed at. Oh, do you have your
Right.
dependent ID? Oh, I'm the veteran. Like I got either medically retired or I am retired. Like what? Like don't
Mm-hmm.
you automatically assume I'm attached to a man? Like why you think I can't do this by myself? Why you think I couldn't go sign up, raise my hand, and fight for my country beside a man? Why I got to be following a man? Like, and I know a lot of women
Stigma.
veterans. Even if I did meet a even my husband or my spouse is a man, he's still in the military. I lead with I'm a veteran. I don't lead with I'm a spouse. Like, so I definitely that's a real thing. That's definitely a thing. What about you, D?
Say, I think Carmen is speaking from the angle of, and also still having the uniform on. I think that once you transition, there's an assumption that you have it all together, like you have all the answers, right?
You don't?
Listen,
And you're rich. That disability makes you rich.
Oh my
right, right,
goodness.
right, right. But man, I'm telling you, if you don't have someone strong in your life telling you the good, bad, and the ugly, someone that's a great mentor, coach, and a friend, that transition will take you out.
Down.
So I think that that is an assumption as well, is that, oh, you were this in the military, you were at this rank, you were at this level, this height, so you automatically transition into, greatness. And that's just not always the case. And that can be the case with male veterans as well, but I think that that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I believe that too, because even sometimes the military, we automatically think sometimes we can go right into that road as a GS-15, and there's a lot of steps before you get to that road. So a lot of steps before you get that GS-14. There's a lot of steps, like it's like I always tell everybody, the CEO of Amazon can't walk onto the installation and be the CEO of the base because they don't know all the ins and outs, right? So vice versa. So even if you get the opportunity to get that role as that GS-13, GS-14, you might not be ready. So you could take that. Hey, let me get a apprentice, like not an apprenticeship, but like a lesser role, learn the position, and then your sweat equity, the things you put in, will get you to that other position within a year, and you won't look necessarily out of place. Because a lot of times we sit at tables, you learn quickly who don't belong at that table. You learn quickly, hey, all they know is the military. They got here because of the military. They didn't get here on nothing else. So again, like I don't want too long on that, but that's definitely something that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
I think this was a hard one for me because there was a lot of things, and I think Dee and Carmen really mentioned the ones that are, top of mind. But I think for me, and this is not just women veterans, I think it's veterans in general that we're aggressive. Um, I think that we might be coming on too strong. When I was in my transition and I was interviewing for something, one of my recruiters actually told me, like, "Are you sure you're going to be ready for this environment? I'm not sure that your background is going to fit due to your like." I guess he was like referring to like the military persona. Um,
A prompt obedience to good order and discipline.
Exactly. And he was mentioning how laid back they were, and he was pretty much saying, he was saying it without saying it.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that's like a huge assumption that we have to deal with. And while sometimes we do struggle to, I think during transition, you will struggle with letting go of that structure, order, and discipline, that the civilians a little bit more lenient on. I think it's something that one just has to adjust to, but not something that is like solid in your persona, I guess.
Yeah, and that you on a larger scale, that's true, right? Because you hear about it all the time, especially during the transition process. They want military. People want military. They want you. They want you. But what they leave out is they want your skill set. They don't want your uniform. And those are not the same thing, but they never put that tagline. So let's keep it right there, Alex. So going back to your first Monday after leaving uniform and leaving the military, what did that day look like for you?
Ooh. So for me, it's a little bit weird because I actually ended up my first job. I already had it lined up. Um, I went into working at range control right on base. So for me, that was it was shift, but not because I was still in that environment. So I just remember thinking like, wow, I don't have to put the uniform on, but now what do I wear? Right? I was like, wait, what do you wear to things like this? Like, okay, I'm going there, but it's not necessarily like this huge office building or corporate. I'm going right back to that environment. Do I dress like a dude? Do I, like how do I dress? I had no idea. So yeah, I was just trying to figure out what was normal in those spaces. So yeah, that's kind of what my first Monday was like.
What about you, D? What was that day like for you?
So I will tell you, was freaking excited. I was y'all don't understand how excited I was. I did not know the future. I didn't know, yes, I had a job that was brewing and cooking, but I knew that I wanted to go on vacation. I knew that I did not want to work immediately. So I think I took about 3 weeks before I started a job. But when I tell you, I did not on that first Monday after my retirement ceremony and the party and all the family is gone and all the things. I really was. I really had, that feeling now. Did other feelings come later? Absolutely. And we can get into that. But that was a good day for me. Because it was just a relief, right? It was just, the fact that I didn't have to put the uniform on, that I didn't owe some type of briefing or, all of the things. And so, and yeah, and I will tell you, even the 3 weeks, Alex, that I did go back to work, I probably still should have waited a little bit because I do believe one of the things that individuals need to know when they transition is take a beat,
Take the
Oh
break.
take a
yeah.
knee, take a break before you hop into that first full-time
Mhm.
job because that's something that I did, after 3 weeks and I regretted it. I went right back and it probably gets into one of your other questions, but I went back to the grind. So backing up to, the craft, the point of your question, I was excited that first Monday. You can tell me
How about you, Carmen?
To say the same as D. I was elated. Didn't have to wear a uniform. I don't have to wear my hair in a bun. I can I can do what I want. I don't have to walk to the DFAC. It was marvelous. Um, but to piggyback off of something D did say in regards to taking a break, I think I took a break because I didn't go right back into working. I didn't work for maybe a year and a half before after I separated. But in that break, I became pregnant right after getting out. So, it's very important to take a beat. Just be responsible about it. Don't do what I did. Take a break from
Don't just go
life
add
and
into the
chill.
population.
Don't
Nothing.
exactly, exactly. Without TRICARE too. That yeah, I
Oh,
don't know what I was thinking
Oh,
there.
Mm, mm,
that's
mm.
awesome. That's awesome.
I
And so would you sum the emotion that hit you the hardest? Was it the relief, or was it something else that?
Wow, how did you know, John? Yes, for me, that is the absolute correct word. It was relief, mental relief, physical, emotional, spiritual relief. I felt like I can drop my armor, literally and figuratively. I was in such a rush to run away from the military and put that whole experience behind me that all I could think of was being able to breathe and feeling like I can be myself, but not realizing, like I said before, what is underlying after that DD 214 because it wasn't the same Carmen underneath.
Yeah, I think Dominic would say he hit excitement and the plane took off after he got out and it's still going up. Dominic been on cloud 27 since the day I saw him transition.
yeah.
He's scratching his head like relief. That boy, the party started, it hasn't stopped.
So for me, I'm like a 24/7, 7 days a week with this workforce development. Cause like my whole background is force protection, canine handling, all the things. But then you got over here, it's like I see the need, and it's like there's no such thing as an off day for me. Cause I'm a people person. With being a people person, like I want to help people. You know what I mean? So that's definitely the grind for me. But enough about me. I want to ask the question like I go Alex. So with you, Alex, was there ever a moment you thought I don't know who I am anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I think it's just that rebuild portion, when you're getting out. When you first go in, a lot of us join really early on, most of us, I think. Right? You kind of join in as almost a kid, right? 18, 20-year-old. You don't really know too much about life and doing things on your own. Um, and you build yourself in the military, right? And that transition, getting out, is building yourself now outside of the military without all of that cushion, structure, and routine that we have. Um, yeah, I feel like, it's just that rebuilding of a mesh of who you were prior, who you became during, and then you're trying to figure yourself out to be with that experience. So, yeah, I feel like identity is a huge part of that transition journey, and just the process of rebuilding yourself just takes a little while. Um, yeah.
What about you, D?
Definitely. I think that, when you're in the military, you have all the titles, you have all the leadership roles and all of those good things. And so it looks good on paper. You probably did your first resume and just pulled what you had off of your EPR and stuck it on a piece of paper and said, yeah, that looks good. And it really was
I'm so qualified.
yeah, I'm so qualified, right? I'm overqualified. They didn't hire me because I was overqualified. Like that. No, can you translate that person on paper? Because that was automatic, robotic, the way that we did our EPRs, it was robotic, and our community understood, that language. But now in the civilian sector, can you even translate it? Is that still the person that you are? So yes, definitely. I think that, there was a moment where you had to say, who am I really? And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you don't have to transition out of the military doing the same thing. And I try to tell
Absolutely.
individuals that I've met people, I don't want to be a cop anymore, be a doctor. I want to open a hair bow business or whatever the case may be. So there's an assumption there too that, you need to remain on that high level frequency of leadership when it's good for you to just enjoy maybe a passion that you have.
Love that. Love that. So besides adding to your family, Carmen, at transition, how did the transition affect your family overall, whether as a wife, a mom, a caregiver, or a daughter? What was that like?
Um, I would say because I was older at the time and this was my first child, my transition with my family, fortunately for me, was excellent. I came from a military law enforcement family. So when I joined, I kind of already knew what to expect, just as far as the demand and potentially things that I could encounter and experience in that service. But coming home to a retired Navy veteran father, he did the best he could to make sure that I had all the resources I need, that I was getting my benefits and I was getting my health care and things of that nature. Um, and not to say that it saved me from the worst parts of mental health, because I did still end up in a VA psych ward for 7 days and really having to sit and reevaluate what got me here and what role the military played in getting me here. But to answer your question, my transition as it pertained to the relationships I had, my family was an excellent resource. They were excellent support. So I don't have anything negative to say in that aspect.
Gotcha. What about you, Alex?
My transition with my family was a little rough. Um, my husband and I were dual military. He actually was out before me, so he kind of took on a home taker or a stay-at-home dad role. Um, and so when I got out, it was kind of like, where do I fit into this now?
Mm.
I came in and I was like, okay, well, why are you guys having so many snacks a day? Like, what's going on here? We're not doing that anymore, right? And the kids are all looking at me like, that's not your area. Dad lets us do this, right? And my husband was doing the same thing. It's like, why are you sweeping? That's my job. Or why are you trying to cook? Like that's what I do. This is how I take care of us. So yeah, it was just trying to find our footing overall amongst the family, with being used to me being home more and more present and taking a more active role as a mom because when I was in, I was at work from 5 a.m. to, like 6, 7 p.m. So yeah, so just being more present and them having to adjust was was a little tough, but we're doing better now.
That balance of roles, that's very important. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people that go
Yeah.
through that, and then on top of that, unfortunately, some people go through that balance of power with older kids, right? So with the older kids, sometimes they have a smart mouth, so they're like, "I wish you go back to the military. I wish you go back to the army. Like, when you leaving?" And it's like, "What?" So I've heard that before. So that's definitely nobody really talks about that out loud. Everybody deals with the roles, power, especially in marriage with the kids, especially as they get older. It's like, "Ugh, mom, dad lets me do this." Like, what? That's
Yeah.
that balance is hard sometimes.
It
And not
is.
coming home and being the mean person or getting that label,
Hmm.
Yeah, that I definitely went through that of like, wow, like here's she
being the
comes.
mommy.
She's an enforcer. Oh
Party
no,
pooper.
run.
The law is home. The law is home. Oh man, what about you, D? How did the transition affect you and your family?
Yeah, so my transition was great as far as the family, but I had to, Alex, you mentioned it. I was more present after I realized that I had to let a job go. One of the jobs that I was on, like I mentioned, I mean, it was a grind. I was getting home at 7 o'clock and I was still doing work when I got there, just trying to get ahead and prepare for the next day. And, at our retirements, we probably looked at our kids and said, I can't wait to be more present and to be there. I wasn't there and, the military child and whoop the woo, right? And then I got out and I found myself doing the same thing because I jumped into that job in 3 weeks, like I said, that just took up my day and night. And I had to leave. I also had to leave because of the culture of that job. And, that's a whole, different conversation we can get into. But once I left and then I stayed true to my promise. I have 4 kids. So my youngest was the only one in high school at that time. I was able to be more present, like literally at the games and paying attention to what she was doing. Going to the PTO meetings, imagine that. Yeah, so yeah, it definitely affected, but it was kind of like my kids were looking at me like side eye, like, yeah, you said you was gonna be more present. So yeah, I had to fix that.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
you bring up a really good point about the culture part. We could spend a whole hour talking about that. Like
right.
lifestyle creep is a real thing. You get used to that steady paycheck, and then when it's like, what's coming next? A
Hmm.
lot of folks start to really focus on the number, and they don't really think about the culture. And I don't know about you, Dominique. I know in my office, I see the jobs and I'll see it get filled, and I'm like, that guy will be back in 6 months because
Yep,
they're gonna
just
leave
chasing
that
the dollar.
culture.
Right.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
reality check.
in the military, you're handed a culture, right? You're told this is where you're
Yeah.
going to work, this is where you're going to pay COs,
Yep.
and this is who you're going to work with it, figure it out. But in the civilian sector, as I was looking around at that environment, I was like, oh, here. So
Right.
that was important, yeah, that you choose your culture with your job, not just the.
I think you touch on something super important to you with this one. I'm going to expand a little bit here, right? Because
Oh,
the culture aspect of it is super important when you think about what your next role, your next job is going to be like, right? That mindset when you get out of the military or when you're in the military, you kind of get, I want to say brainwashed to be like a workhorse, right?
Yeah.
You're like you kind of have to do the things that you're told to do, right?
Hmm.
So you get used to overworking, overcommitting yourself. And so when you transition out, you find yourself in those same positions again, where you're overworking, you're going above and beyond. And the difference in the civilian world is that hey, like you can say no. You can, scale back and you can say, I don't get paid to do this, right? So I think understanding that is super important, realizing like that culture fit also is super important to know that, hey, my work is valued here, I'm being paid for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to slave myself into this position. Like I don't have to be a
Mm-hmm.
slave in the workforce anymore. So I think that's a super, important for veterans to really understand that once you get into the workforce, make sure that you're finding that balance.
Yeah, you bring. I don't know about all the other areas of the services. I grew up in healthcare in the military, and I know in the healthcare services there are a lot of civilians, tons, and specifically like when I worked in a pharmacy, there was maybe four active duty and 43 civilians, and we had this battle because the military always had this hard time and having that mindset. Listen, the military gets paid to get the job done. The civilians get paid to do the work, which is not the same, right? 4 o'clock, they're out. If the job's not done, we're staying. But when you get on this side, having to be able to let that go and realize when it's 4 o'clock, you're going too. You're not staying. You don't. The mission will
Right.
be here tomorrow, right? The mission's gonna be here tomorrow, but it's gonna be all right. And embracing that culture, and a lot of people struggle with that more than they like to admit. A lot more than they like to admit.
Yeah, I
So
did that mistake too during, like Dee said, when you go into your first role, you're kind of doing the same things. You thought you were going to be more present, you thought you would have more time, but you don't because you're doing it to yourself, right?
Yep.
Because it's that mindset that it's hard to let go of.
Definitely hard to let go of. I won't deny that. It's definitely hard to let go of. So with that being said, for that first job that you had when you transition out, do you feel like, or just in general, do you feel like the employees like value the military experience, or kind of like, do they value it, or they kind of like, they're scared of it, the military experience that you bring? I'll go with Carmen.
Um, I'm going to say yes and no. And I'm only going to answer that way because I know for me, I didn't understand my value when I got out.
Mm.
So when I was applying for positions, I was applying for jobs like I was fresh out of high school.
mhm.
I wasn't utilizing any of my military experience. I didn't know how to quantify that. I didn't know how to translate that on a resume. So, I mean, if I could think about like I worked in banking or separation, and every credit union I worked at, although they knew I was a veteran, and I think it was partly because they got hiring incentives for that, but that's another story. They knew I was a veteran, but I don't believe that they took any of that in consideration in hiring me. And it's throughout my times in those roles, I don't feel I felt like I kind of was just another employee like everyone else. And then I learned very fast that HR within civilian employers is like OSI and IA in the military, and they're not your friend. So I had to learn that the hard way in my civilian employment. But I don't think any civilian employment that I had after separation was able to use me for my military benefits because I wasn't utilizing myself with those benefits.
Mm. I get that. What about you, Alex? What you think?
Um, well, I do, in Parsons, one of the companies that I was working with, I helped build their military hiring program. So in that, I talked to a lot of different employers and partners and um, trying to make them understand the value that veterans bring was a little difficult because they just wanted to make sure that individuals had the practical hands-on experience the way that they wanted to, right? So they're looking for those certs, they're looking for that stuff. Not really understanding everything that the military and the skills translations, all of that stuff, right? So it's a huge gap between both worlds. It's a huge gap between what Carmen said of like understanding what your skills are, knowing how to translate that over, knowing how to speak to those, knowing how to write those down, knowing how to showcase your skills and all of the value that you bring, but also on the side of the employers, they don't understand that language either. They don't understand what the military and the different MOSs or, skills that you have, not only the hard skills, but also the soft skills. So I think it's just a huge gap, and it's just a communication gap between both worlds, you and the employer. So for veterans, again, I think it's just really, really important that you do understand your skills and you know how to speak to them. And that in general is a huge journey. It's a long journey
Mhm.
to really understand all of your skills that you built through the military. But again, knowing how to speak to those is what's going to get you through with these employers because they really don't understand the military environment.
Got it. Got it. What about you, D?
I think it depends, kind of what Carmen said. I think it truly depends. Some corporations that I've been at, they don't really care about your skills, they care about your network.
Mm.
Mm.
Right. And so, and is that a good thing, bad thing? Maybe not, but they care about the network, especially, at what level that you transition out of the military, what connections can you bring to that business?
Yeah.
That has kind of been my experience. And then you move on to other companies that have a very high population of military personnel that work for, with, and around them, and they truly do get it, your capability. So it just depends, for me. And so, but yeah, they care about, yeah, booking your business, looking at the chat. But yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's
So
more focused on your network.
yeah, and sometimes they I'm not gonna say all, but every now and then you have those companies just like I have to have that nuance of military initiative. Let me hire some military folk to connect
Mhm.
that initiative, or let
Mhm.
me get that banner to say I'm a veteran friendly company because I have these veterans, but I'm not necessarily utilizing them. But it just I gotta have them
Yeah.
for the poster or the to say hey the network or say I do this type of thing. But I do ask like whichever one y'all want to go first. Like, what advice would you give somebody on that transition? Like, what advice you give somebody that's starting their first civilian career? Like, besides knowing your skill set, is there anything else you would add to that?
To
I
stay
Like,
think
somewhat.
meaning like meaning like, hey, I gotta find my skill set. I gotta find my respective niche. Is there anything else when as they pivot to their civilian career that you would add to it? Like,
Or what
okay, I got my
resource you
skill set
guys use
or
that
resource
help
or a
with that?
guide.
So I would
Ooh.
definitely say, like she just talked about networking, you have to do that. You have to get out and find not only what your passion is, but who do you have a liking to? Who do you see that's maybe a few levels up from you? Because, if you're not in the room with folks that are smarter than you, then you're not going to go anywhere. Right. And so I think that networking and getting out is going to be important. It's so hard for not for me to do, but you do. I did it all the time in the military. Like you're hugging the, what do they call, hugging the babies and rocking them and doing all of that, right? And so you do all that, and so you just want to come out and just chill and do your own thing. But if you do intend to be in this civilian network, because most of your jobs are not based off of your resume.
Mm.
That's about fit.
Your job is based off of networking. Who knew? Oh, I know John, but bang, but Dominique told him about me, told him about Todd, da da da. Yes, hire D. Oh, and oh, by the way, send me that thing called the resume. Is normally what has happened, to me in the past. And so keeping your network in check and realizing that it's important, and it's word of mouth that's going to get you your job. Sorry, but not indeed.
exactly. I'll add in my recruiter background in here and tell you all that we get thousands and thousands and thousands of applicants coming through. So it's really hard to sift through all of those, right? So definitely we front load the people that are referred. So if I have someone say, hey, check out this person, I worked with him X, Y, and Z, or hey, I have this person, whatever the case, whatever the relationship is, if someone is directly feeding me a resume that is another person that's reputable to me that I trust, I'm looking at it versus having to find a gem in 1,000 resumes. So just know that, continue to build your network. As I mentioned earlier, your network is your net worth. It really is important. Once you get into, like, I think for a lot of veterans, and I work with a lot of students that really have a hard time because I try to get them to understand that even through their learning journey, even though they don't have that cert yet, they should start networking at the very beginning of their journey because it really, is about building those relationships. So that's a huge part that has to be heavily focused on when you are trying to find a job because again, recruiters, these applications, these they get swarmed with applicants. So it's hard to get seen.
Piggyback off what Alex is saying, and D, because I work with thousands of veterans as well on a regular basis seeking employment, I tell my veterans all the time that we are not back in the day where your resume could get you a job. The resume today doesn't even look like the resume 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And having to explain the changing in times and explaining the ATS systems and explaining to them that recruiters are not looking at your resume anymore. We have to shift and we have to adapt to where we're at right now. And my role as an employer liaison, we build those relationships with business owners and with recruiters and with hiring managers wherever we're located. And those relationships not only are vital to us, but they're vital to the veterans that we're serving, because I would be the one, Alex, sending you a resume of a veteran directly. That veteran doesn't have to go through the same hiring process as a civilian or as another veteran who's not familiar with the resources that we provide. So with us having these strong relationships in our communities and having the strong relationships with our veterans, we're literally able to hand feed recruiters like you and some of you guys on the call, these qualified veterans, just based off of that relationship. And it had nothing to do with their resume.
Yeah,
So you guys are absolutely correct when it comes to networking. Relationship is extremely important.
I think on the point of resumes, and I say this all the time, in a couple years, they're going to be obsolete. The way AI
Absolutely.
is just firing off. I mean, if you think about it, 30 years ago, you could just walk in and say, "Hey, it's the general hiring manager here. Can I talk to him?" And then you guys have a
Yeah.
conversation. 10 years ago, it was okay, just you could just fire your resume online and then you get a call. And then a few years
Yeah.
ago, it transitioned to you need to target your resume.
Uh-huh.
Now it's to the point where, hey, your resume gets looked at for 8 seconds. You need to network.
Right.
And
Yep.
so
Yep.
we were going through these seasons, and I firmly believe the way AI is, we're going to get to a season where, and I don't know if LinkedIn is going to be the platform. I genuinely think there's going to be a competitor that is made. Mark my words. We're going to mark it to August 1st. John Nieves said, in the coming years, there is going to be a competitor that's made, and that is going to be the platform that houses your resume and where people go for hiring. It'll be the new LinkedIn, whatever LinkedIn newbie. Um, so watch but the networking, and the other thing I deal with a lot too is 25-year veterans, and I'm like, hey, you guys got a network, and all of a sudden it's like, well, what's that? Like all of a sudden they can't work the room anymore. It's I don't know what to do with my hands. And it's the same thing you did last
Yeah.
week at your meeting. Just come in and talk.
Right.
So man, so many great gems you guys are dropping. It's too bad
I,
that
go-
we're
I,
gonna be
I
coming
want to
up.
add one
Go
more.
ahead,
I want
Dominic.
to add one more
Go
to it,
ahead.
right? On top of networking, find you a mentor in that space.
Mm.
You got ACP, you got Meal Mentor. Find a mentor in that space. If I want to do cyber and I'm just getting my entry level stuff, let me find someone who did cyber for 20 years. If I want to do real estate agent, let me find a real estate agent that's been doing it for 10 to 15 years. If I want to go into banking, I want to be a CPA. Find you a mentor in that space to connect with that can help you navigate the space. On top of, they might have a network that says, hey, I got somebody who just graduated school. I just got somebody who's doing something. He just got out the military. He or she's doing great things. Can you give him a chance? Absolutely. I gave him a chance because they have a relationship with them and they believe in you. And most time, I'm not gonna refer you unless I believe in you. I'm not gonna refer you unless I got an understanding of you. Like I just talked to before we got on the call, who you in relationships with, that's almost like who you in the bed with. Like it's very important. Like I'm not gonna vouch for you knowing you're gonna fail later. So when people vouch for you, not only do you have to hit the mark, but they're vouching for you because they know you're gonna hit the mark. They're not second guessing it. So just keep that in mind too. I know John got another question. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Well, D, I'm going to come to you. I got a two-parter for you. So, what, and we may have already talked about it, but was there ever a moment where you questioned whether leaving the military was the right decision? And if you did, what kind of helped you rebuild your confidence and find your footing again?
No.
That's
Absolutely
nope.
not. Absolutely
Book it.
not.
I'm out.
I say that is, I did 28 years and, I had some on one hand say, why didn't you go ahead and do the full 30? And then I had some on the other hand that said you did eight too many. Regardless,
Oh, wow.
I feel like at 28 years, I've given all that I can. And don't you believe for 1 second that the military still needs you
Mm.
specifically. We are all replaceable. So I hear folks saying, well, I don't want to, I'm going to push it 6 months because we work on this program and they need me and I got to do and this and that. Once you have, trust your gut, once you have said, I am ready to retire and you push that button, it is time for you to start that transition because guess what? The military is going to get every single dime out of you that they can all the years that you stay, and that's cool. But when it's time for you to transition, you need to start thinking about self and understand that you've already trained your replacements. And so there are individuals that are waiting for you to move, get out the way, get out the way, get out the way.
I know
And
that's
that's
right.
just the reality of it. Like we
Yeah.
are not that good to that we're not replaceable. And we think that sometimes. I've got to stay. And so just think about your replacements that are waiting to fist bump you out the door. And next thing you know, you're replaceable. So no, absolutely. I never said, man, I shouldn't have did this. Absolutely not.
And then we'll come to you, Alex. You were in. So when you transitioned out, what was that like? Were you questioning and how did you find your footing?
Well, for me, I was medically discharged, so I didn't really have, too much of a choice there. But for me, never questioned if getting out was, the best thing for me. Honestly, even at that time, I'm glad that I was medically retired because I was honestly ready to go. I got what I needed. I got the skills that I needed. I built myself up to be who I feel like I was meant to be. I got everything and I kept it pushing. I think like through my transition again, I utilized all of the skills that I had learned and really, rebuild myself into who I am now and just continuing to find this passion. But yeah, no hesitation on being out being the right thing for me. Yeah.
What about you, Carmen?
There are absolutely, almost immediately, I question if I made the right decision. But I know that questioning came from me initially joining. If I could give a little bit of backstory, I did not join the Air Force because I wanted to be an airman. My parents took me to the Air Force recruiter and said we were getting information, and I walked out signing paperwork for the delayed entry program.
Got the okie doke.
So I didn't have a passion for the military. I was forced by my parents to join, which is why I was so adamant on getting out. The first opportunity I had to get out, I was gone. But it made me think about all of the things my parents and the recruiter told me in the office about the benefits. And if I stay in for 20 years, what life is going to look like, the careers that I can transition to while I'm in service, all of these great things the recruiter told me. And it sounded good at that time. And it was okay for the 8 years that I served. But once I got out, and again, we're going back to the fact that I joined at 18 with no life skills. I was in a women's shelter with my oldest son within a year of me separating. And sitting in that shelter, Carmen, how the hell did you get here? I still had $35,000 from a deployment in 2009. I got out, I had a brand new car, I had all these great things when I got out, but this was not right when I got out. And this is something that I do tell a lot of my veterans, my younger people that I speak to that want to go in as well, is when I got out, I wanted to just have fun. I didn't ever sit and think about, well, what do I want to do now? Because I still had that young mindset. I was ready to get out. It's almost like that senioritis that kids get in high school. That last year of high school, you've done everything you needed to do. I'm just ready to go. I'm not putting forth any more effort. Just get me the hell out of here. And me not being prepared put me in a situation where I ended up homeless. I ended up with no money, with no car. And, and it was extremely rough. And that made me think, well, damn, my parents were right. Dang, that recruiter was right. Where would my life be if I didn't get out? I had joined in 2006. Right now, I'm watching people I went to basic training with put on chief and retire. And it's been such an exciting year watching my fellow airmen retire and live their best lives because they held on. I couldn't hold on for 20 years, but they did. And it's so great. And sometimes I look and I'm like, dang, I wonder if my life would have turned out that way. But in the same time that I have that thought, I think about if I didn't get out, I wouldn't have my children right now. I wouldn't have the family I have right now. I wouldn't work for the organization I work with right now. So, everything in life happens for a reason. We hear that so much. And you never know how one decision can alter the whole rest of your life. So I, on a regular basis, think about, what if I stayed in? Where would my life be like right now? If I had a retirement check, where would my life be right now if I stuck it out and became that stellar airman that my family wanted me to be? But on the flip side of that, become a success. My family sees me as a success. My children see me as a success now. So I also know that regardless of what that decision I made 12 years ago, it was what was best for me at that time. And I persevered through it. And I'm here right now. Okay. Thriving. So yeah, I hate to be the odd one out, but yeah, I kind of regretted my decision.
You maybe, it sounds like you're the odd man out in this group, but on the grander stage, there's so many like all of you guys, right?
Right.
And you hit on something so powerful. What's up here? And I can tell you, as someone that did 25 years on the Navy, and I don't know how the other services operate, but we do career development boards with our junior sailors all the time. And it didn't matter what sailor was sitting in front of me. They had this mindset like, oh, chief, senior chief, you just want me to do 20 years. And I would always have
Yeah.
to remind them, listen, I've seen people do 2 years and get out, become millionaires. I've seen people do 30 years, get out and fall flat on their face.
Yep.
Right? Where are you up here? Where are you, where's your mental preparation? Because at the end of the day, what they
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about enough in the military, it's a part-time job. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care how many years you do, right? The term retirement, they can throw that away. You don't retire, you transition. You
Yeah.
transition, right? It's a part-time job for all of us. And if you don't start working on what's up here and prepare yourself that the other thing, we're all one bad decision away from being out of uniform tomorrow, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
every day there's a UCMJ violation. The question is today gonna be the one? Is today gonna be the one that puts me on the street? And are you prepared up here for that day? So amazing, amazing stuff. What you got, Dominique?
So I will say this, because we're about to come up on time at the same
Mhm.
time. Like the military is just a chapter of your life.
Yeah,
There's one chapter. It could be a great
season.
chapter, a bad chapter, a chapter. If you make it to 50 years, 30 years, guess what? When that chapter's over, that doesn't define the rest of your life. You still got a whole lot more life to live. And when that chapter's over, I mean, each one of y'all, I couldn't tell you was in the military. I'm looking at you at what you do today. What are you doing right now? That chapter's over. If you had a new child, if
Mhm.
somebody meets you, they don't meet you as you did almost 30 years in the Air Force. Oh, you did 10 years. They meet you. Okay, how you doing, ma'am? How you doing, sir? That's where they meet you at. Wherever you are today. They don't, then you can't live in your legacy. There's no such thing as living in your legacy. It's like, no disrespect, but it's like Master P. Master P did all these great things in the early 90s. What is he doing now? He's like, what are we doing now? It's not about what you did before, it's about today. What are you looking at today? So again, like I don't want to be too long-winded, but it's one of those things where like it's a chapter, it's good or bad, it's only a chapter. You still got a lot more chapters to go, a lot more productivity. Take your lessons learned for those chapters and keep pressing on. Don't sit in it too long. If it didn't go how you wanted to go, keep pressing, keep
Mhm.
moving on because it's only a chapter. And people know you from today. They don't know you from last year. They don't know you when you was 19 years old. They don't know when you made some mistakes, you had a drinking problem, you was too sexual, or you did this and that. They don't remember none of that. They remember what are you doing today, who are the woman you are, who is the man you are, what do your finances look like, what does your real estate look like, how are you bettering people's lives right now? How are you bettering your life? What are your kids, what do people think about you today? Who cares about what they thought about you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago? That is irrelevant to today. And then what are you gonna do tomorrow? So let me get off that. But
Yeah, we're
so
gonna come up on time and definitely want to give you guys the opportunity to leave at least with this last part. So, and we'll go right in order. Alex, Carmen, D, starting with Alex, the young woman that's in service right now, whether she's at 4 years or 20 plus years, that's about to get out, not sure if she's making the biggest mistake. What's the last piece of advice you'd want to leave with her?
That it's okay to be scared. Um, yeah, it's okay to be scared. You're leaving something that you've known, that you've been doing on a day to day, that's shaped your identity. And that's really a big deal. So, it's okay to be scared. Just don't confuse the uncomfortable with making like the wrong decisions. Um, yeah, and I think put yourself first. Dee touched on this, in your transition journey. Drop it. Drop that responsibility. Drop it. It's like the responsibility is you. So, yeah, just make sure that you're putting you first.
Love it. What you got, Carmen?
I'd have to say to not let other people's fears and insecurities project onto your plans. Whatever you sit and decide that you want to do, whatever that next chapter looks like for you, make sure that you've made that decision based on your opinion and your due diligence. It's easy to talk to your peers and bounce ideas off of people that you think are on the same wavelength as you. And for all you know, they could be leading you down a rabbit hole of uncertainty when all you needed was just support and asking a life-changing question. And I'm saying this because I listened to a lot of bad advice when I got out. So if I had to give some advice to a young lady that's about to get out, I would just say hold on to your convictions for dear life and don't let anyone come in and project their fears into what it is that you want to do with your life.
Mm. And D, you want to close it out?
Yeah, I would say that you're not starting over, you're starting forward. And that gut feeling that you have of nervousness and, I'm scared. If you didn't have it, I'd look at you sideways, right? Because there's very few people that, push the button as they say and don't feel a certain kind of way about it. So that feeling that you're feeling is natural, is normal. But time heals and you will find your way. Take your own path when you get out. Don't let anybody tell you that this is what you're supposed to do because the number one thing that happens, right, when you transition is everybody opens up a consultant business and it's talk to me, come lay on my couch and pay me to tell you your problems and coach you through everything. And that's not everybody's niche. And so understand that, that expectation that, people have of you, that does not have to be what do you want to do? And oh, by the way, if it's nothing for 6 months, then kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kudos to
Yep.
you. Take your time and coming up with your next game plan so that you can do it right. And then, like Dominic said, get with a mentor so that you don't spend money on the wrong thing, right? Starting a business is not easy. And so get with someone that has done it and has gone through it so that you don't make the same mistakes. So again, you're not starting over, you're starting forward. You're supposed to be scared, but baby, let me tell you, this thing on this side it's good. It's good. You
Good.
are going to love it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you ladies did not disappoint today. So honored and appreciative to have you all on here. I cannot thank you guys. And I know we got one more minute. You want to close this out, Dominique?
So quickly, I want all the ladies to drop their LinkedIn's in the chat, so everybody
Yeah,
connect with
please,
you,
please.
have
Yep, link
further
in with them.
conversations. If you have something you want to talk about further, definitely reach out to them. You like let them know that hey, you heard that message. You appreciate them coming out. And again, I appreciate y'all time. We already talked about maybe doing this again, maybe once a month or something, coming back together. So that'd be great. So it won't be the last time we get opportunity to speak to you guys again. Um, I just hope that everybody have a great weekend. Took something away from this, and definitely, if you have more questions, you want to follow up a little bit more on an individual point, or just want to have a make one of these ladies your mentor, definitely reach out to them. You need them. You need somebody in that development that actually been through some of the things you've been through, can answer some of those questions and be real with you, right? I don't feel like we held any punches or anything that was like held back. It was a lot of honesty given today, and I appreciate that from you guys. I appreciate the time. And again, hey, it's
One
the
o'clock
veteran
on the
veteran
dot.
honor. It's 1 o'clock. We made it time. I thought we was gonna be way over, but we made it to the time. So again, we'll see y'all next week. Another opportunity next Saturday. We'll have these ladies on again, and definitely reach out to them individually if you have more questions and want to have more conversations with them. And that's all I got. Thank y'all for the Saturday. Have a great Saturday. Have a great Sunday. Have a great productive week. And that's pretty much it.
Great weekend, everyone.
Take care,
Oh,
Thank
ladies.
so
you.
much for doing this. Dominic, I know y'all are stop recording, but thanks to you all for putting this on. We need these
Hmm.
spaces where we can have these authentic conversations. And so I'm definitely interested in partnering and doing something on a regular basis. So let's
Would
stay in
love to
touch.
have it.
Same.
Would love
Let's
it.
do
Absolutely.
it.
Hey,
All
it's up
right,
to y'all.
y'all.
You know me. It's 24/7 with me. It's on y'all. Whatever y'all want to do, we get back. You want to do it the weekend, however y'all want to do it. Let's get it. But yeah, thank y'all. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate y'all coming out, the conversation we had privately, and I hope that like everything I'm a part of, I want y'all to be a part of it too. Like I'm trying to move the needle. Wherever I can move the needle, let's move the needle. Like I got some connections, some people reaching out to me from Texas, Louisiana. Like however I can move the needle, I want y'all to be a part of it. If y'all have a portion or something that y'all want me to be a part of, I love to be a part of it. I love whatever it helps move the needle, help the veteran community that is free, especially all the free stuff, all the resources, all the communications. I want to do it. Like I have somebody, I'm connected with somebody with VR&E. Like I got my counselor. If you had somebody, hey, you trying to figure out VR&E, if you trying to figure out VR&E yourself, I can connect you to my counselor. He'd love to talk to y'all. We did a podcast with him. Like 2 weeks ago, but he's really energetic. He loves the opportunity to speak about VRNE, the highs and lows of it. If you don't know what VRNE is, let's break it down. The whole 9 yards. Like I just want to be a resource to give back because somebody helped me. I want to help somebody else. You know what I mean? So, however I can help y'all, how we can move the noodle forward, let's do it.
Let's do
But
it.
All right. All right, ladies. Well, we look forward to the next one. Thank you all guys for joining. Enjoy your Saturday. Me and my daughter, we're gonna go to Gatorland. Hopefully not get bit.
Hey.
I
I
get
Have
it.
just dropped
fun.
a flyer in the chat just in case you know anybody in the Orlando area. We're doing this summit. She leads on August 4th, so it's called She Leads Orlando. So take a look at it or
Well, we'll
share it with
definitely
your
get that
community.
shared.
And I
You should have been
appreciate
get
it.
that to me. I
So
too
I've
easy.
been
That's
still
easy.
just trying to get it together and
Right,
get
right,
the
right.
things
Nah, I get it. I
happening.
get it. I get it.
But no, I appreciate you.
No worries at all.
All right, y'all. Take care.
You
Take care,
too.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
You too. Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.